Hi, my name is Zach Wong. I'm a senior at Claremont McKenna College. I will be discussing Proposition 10, an initiative to lift some state restrictions on rent control policies. Housing in California is incredibly expensive. Today, renters in California typically pay at least 50% more than renters in other states. And in some parts of the state, rents are more than twice the national average. Rent control laws are designed to make rental housing more affordable, but economists debate their overall costs and benefits. For many years, a number of California cities, including Los Angeles, San Francisco, Santa Monica, and Berkeley, have maintained rent control laws. In 1995, the legislature enacted the Costa-Hawkins Act, which limited the scope of these types of laws. This act declared that local governments cannot impose rent control on single-family homes, impose rent control on housing built on or after February 1, 1995, and impose limits on what a renter pays when first moving in. Proposition 10 would repeal the Costa-Hawkins Act and allow local governments to implement rent control policies without these restrictions. Prop 10 also codifies state court decisions that landlords are entitled to a fair rate of return. The legislative analyst says that the Prop 10 effect on state and local finances will depend on how many jurisdictions enact new rent control laws. If few do, the effects will be minimal. But if many do, these governments could lose tens or even hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue each year, primarily due to decreased property and income taxes. The analyst also says that these losses could be partially offset by increasing sales taxes if renters use some of their savings to purchase other goods. Proposition 10 is backed by groups including the Coalition for Affordable Housing and the California Democratic Party, with major funding from the AIDS Healthcare Foundation. Supporters of Proposition 10 argue that repealing Costa-Hawkins would give local governments the power to address the housing crisis as they deem best, and that expanding rent control would help many Californians afford a decent place to live. Proposition 10 is opposed by groups including the California Apartment Association, the California Rental Housing Association, and the California Republican Party, with major funding from individual owners of real estate firms. Opponents argue that rent control policies would discourage future investment in the construction of rental housing and lead to even greater shortages in rental housing, increasing rent prices for those not covered by rent control policies. In summary, a yes vote on Proposition 10 would eliminate several state restrictions on rent control policies. A no vote on Proposition 10 would maintain these restrictions. For more information on Prop 10, visit roseinstitute.org and these other sites.